Shayda. I'm your host, and this is where I teach you how to make healthy plant-based meals that are salt, oil, and sugar-free. We are once again back with our favorite, John Pierre, and he's going to have a new health tip for us for the month of March. So welcome to the show, JP.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
So what are we talking about for March?
Well, I thought today we would talk just briefly about a little bit of a cleansing since it's March and we want to start talking about cleansing and, cleaning.
Spring
cleaning. And so one of the things I want to say is probably the one substance that you want to take in on a regular basis throughout the day for cleansing is water.
Absolutely.
And we want to get as much clean water as possible. In other words, when you clean your house, you don't use dirty water. So you use clean water. And so you want to take in water that's not contaminated. So you want to make sure you're getting some sort of filtered water, whether it's distilled or some sort of filter. I personally use clearly filtered because they make an under the sink unit. They have a bottle and they have a pitcher. So that's what I use. And you can, if you go to johnpierre.com under JP's favorites, it's there, clearly filtered. What I would recommend though, as soon as you wake up in the morning, to start that morning with a cleanse. And that would be a glass of water, and then put something in it, either a pinch of green powder, or you could use lemon. I use a combination. I like lemon and water and the green powder. So the green powders that I use are Health Force, and I use one that's called Vitamin Mineral Green and one that's called Greener Grass.
I don't know if you can see it, but this is a small.
Yeah.
And this is what I travel with. So I always have these little ones because I don't leave home without it.
Yeah, Greener Grasses and the Vitamin Mineral Green. And what you do is just when you wake up in the morning, you get your glass of water and just put a pinch in there and stir it up, and then just take some of it. Yeah, they're very similar, and they come in big bottles. These are the small travel sizes.
I just have the travel sizes right here, right now. So, but the big bottles are in the cupboard up there, and I forgot to bring them down.
And so you would use that because remember, this is extremely high in alkaline and chlorophyll. It's an alkaline-forming substance, the greens, and they're super high in chlorophyll, which are two super cleansing agents. Alkalinity versus acidity, and then chlorophyll. So that's a great way to do it. If you didn't want to use a green powder, you didn't have one, you could use lemon. So you could just squeeze some fresh lemon in, that would be fine. And if you don't have those, just use water. But you want to start that day with cleansing, because when you've been sleeping, your body's been detoxifying. That's why your tongue is often coated and people have bad breath, is because their body's been going through these different stages of cleansing and digestion, assimilation, all these different things. And one of them at the end is really the cleansing right there. You're detoxifying. So that's why your tongue often gets coated. So when you wake up in the morning, you want to stop the detoxifying, that process there. It's kind of ended, and now you want to start cleansing. So the lemon water, the green powder water, or just plain water would be great. That would be the first thing I'd suggest you do. And the second thing is the kind of brother and sister with cleansing is you have water and fiber. So you want to make sure that your diet is high in fiber. Now, it's pretty easy if you're following Shayda's recipes because it's 100% fiber.
Absolutely.
There's no animal products and no processed foods. So fiber is kind of the skeleton of the plant. It's what holds that plant up, like we have bones. But inside your body, there's different types of fiber, but they're generally very cleansing, and they help move things out throughout the body. So you want to get foods that are high in fiber, which are basically just all fresh fruits and vegetables, whole grains, legumes like beans, peas, and lentils, tubers, potatoes, things like that. So the combination of water and fiber together make a beautiful cleansing agent. I would start with that, and then the last thing I would do, and we kind of alluded to this in one of our other videos, is you want to start thinking about cleansing your mind also in your spirit. So start thinking more pure and wholesome thoughts, not so much negativity, not so much violence, not so much anger. You want to have a cleansing energy about you, and that is ultimately going to begin with your thoughts.
I remember when I first started using this, it did not taste good.
And it won't if you're acidic.
Why.
Yeah, because the more acidic you are, it's almost like kryptonite to Superman or garlic to a vampire. It's repulsive. But as you become more alkaline, you crave it. I bet you almost crave this now.
I do. And tell them what dose should they start
Well,
with?
if you're not used to it, I would start with a pinch. But both of these are very concentrated, so I would start with a pinch and then work your way up eventually to a teaspoon, and then eventually keep going till you can take in a tablespoon a day.
Which I'm doing, guys.
Yeah, which is 3 teaspoons. So start with a pinch, and then just build from there.
And I tell you, this size is great for traveling because you can toss this in your suitcase and take it with you. And because sometimes there are places where you can't get a lot of greens, and these really come in handy. I absolutely, and they make this in the pill form now. Did you know that?
Yeah, the pill isn't as good because you don't get quite the cleansing in your palate.
Right.
But if you can't handle the flavor of it for now. The pills are fine because it's still going to work in the intestine.
Yeah, and I think as long as we're talking about cleansing, because it is spring cleaning, don't you think we should clean out the refrigerator too?
Oh yeah. Well, I think that's something we need to do on a weekly basis.
Well, yeah.
I mean, I'm always rearranging things, but at
Yeah.
least every week you want to be cleansing.
But that's
with
also
that.
part of the cleansing. That's part of, cleaning your environment,
It is.
cleaning, everything. So.
And one of the things that I do is I like the company makes these obviously in large bottles, really big ones. So what I do when I'm done with them, they're glass, which is critical because the company doesn't use plastic because that leaches chemicals. But what I do with these, the big ones, is you can soak them in water and the label will come off. And they're tinted, so it protects from UV getting in there. And then you can store your vegetables and fruits in the refrigerator. So if I have blueberries, I can just buy them at the farmer's market, and then I store them in my fridge that way. And when you start getting all these glass bottles, it looks really pretty in there.
It does, and that's a great tip because I had not thought about emptying out the big bottle and using it, like for blueberries and raspberries.
Oh
and
yeah,
stuff.
I mean, what's not? Yeah, it's nice is one of the reasons I love the company so much is because it's all glass, so you can recycle it. But I take it a step further. I put my store your food in there, but then these little ones, buy a few the sample size, the travel ones, and then all I do is you just refill them.
And that's what I do.
When you travel.
That's what I do. I refill it when I travel. Now I also have this.
The chlorella.
The chlorella.
Yeah.
So talk about this a little bit.
Yeah, chlorella is one of the best proteins that you can use. And the chlorella is such an amazing product because it quadruples its growth every day. I mean, it just keeps growing. It's such a great. It's called a chlorella growth factor actually in there. But it's so high in lutein and zeaxanthin, such important carotenoids for your eyes and protective in your system. But they're also a great source of protein. Now, you make a good point because one of the things I like about these, they have a tablet, which is what I use, but they also have a powder. I like the tablets because when you travel, you can just pop them in your mouth and chew them, and just you just keep chewing and let it sit in your mouth for a while. It's like a breath mint, and then you can swallow with water.
Oh, I haven't been chewing, so I've been that. So I've just been swallowing.
No, chewing them is great. Yeah, I mean, just before you go to a business meeting, make sure to check that you don't have green in your teeth. But they're great when you're traveling, though.
Yeah, because I remember back in the day when I was doing raw foods, I used to put the chlorella powder in my smoothie, and it would just turn it green.
Oh yeah.
Green.
Yeah, really green.
Really green, and the taste was.
Well, they have if you go to Health Force, their website, the Health Force Superfoods website, they have a recipe on there for popsicles with using the spirulina.
Really?
Yeah, you can use spirulina or the powder,
Okay.
which it makes them really green. And it's a great way for kids and seniors to get nutrients in. But I like to put it in my smoothie, and it does turn it green, of course. But so do my blueberries, so it's already colored.
Yeah, but I had no idea about chewing. So how many of these tablets would you?
Well, follow the direction because
Okay.
I use a bunch of them, but I would just follow the directions. But I get them if you buy the big bottle. If you ever get a small bottle, then take them traveling like this in a small bottle.
And then
too.
do you take it with a meal, without a meal?
Yeah,
Or
because
does
it's
it matter?
food. It's food, and
It's food.
one of the reasons mana really means like special food. It's
Oh,
a
okay, I
Thai
didn't- okay.
term, but it is a food. It's a plankton that's grown actually in fresh water, but it's one of the highest sources in the plant-based world of protein. So when I'm working with athletes, I always like them to use a spirulina or a chlorella, and actually they make an amazing product called a Green Elite, which is spirulina and chlorella and moringa, which are super plant proteins.
Yeah, that should be really good.
Yeah, that's really good. So keep that in mind in terms of your cleansing, especially starting for the month of March.
Well, thank you so much. These are wonderful tidbits of information that we're getting from JP. And I want to thank you for watching another episode of Healthy Cooking with Shayda. Stay tuned. We're going to be back with more videos.